Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
and Bailey.
Hey, everybody. We are so excited. This is going to be a really fun episode. It's 12 things that we learned in the last 12 months of podcasting. So we're really excited. We can't believe it's been a year.
I know. I actually cannot believe it. Like, I don't know. I say it all the time that I would have quit this podcast a long time ago if it wasn't for you, like, staying consistent with it. And so I think it's so cool that we made it to a year.
It is fun. Well, I don't think I would have started it if you hadn't followed up and been like, hey, so you ever going to do that podcast you talked about? And I'm like, okay, I should.
Look at it go.
It's way more fun with two people, I think.
It is a lot more fun. I feel like the people who do solo episodes, I'm like, how do you come up with so much content? And like, how do you just talk?
Yeah.
Like an hour and a half.
I don't think I would mind the content, but I think that the accountability piece of it is big. Like, I think that I wouldn't have started and you wouldn't have kept going. You know? So we got to meet each other in the middle that way. So.
100%.
Yeah. So in light of it being our 1 year anniversary, we actually technically had our 1 year, like the anniversary was like end of May, but with like Memorial Day and Mother's Day and all the things, we're celebrating it the first weekend of June. So this is kind of your last chance to get the announcement on our podcast episode. This is our last announcement because this coming Sunday, we are having our 1 year birthday celebration.
I know, our 1 year of the podcast, and we are inviting you all to come out and celebrate with us and do our shout out wall and give us ideas for new episodes, ask us questions, hear our story, and just really help us prepare for year 2.
Yeah. And honestly, just celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, just have fun. It'll be pretty casual. We're going to be at Rieger. We're in like a semi-private area, not totally private, but you can buy drinks, food, whatever you want. They are kid friendly. They have like a kid friendly menu and whatnot too. So you can bring the family. Mostly we just want to celebrate with you guys and say thank you for listening and then hear what you want in year 2. So
I love it.
Thanks in advance for joining us.
Yes. Well, before we get too far into all things that we've learned in the 12 months of podcasting, what's filling your cup today?
I have water as well, but I have something other than water finally. I am drinking my coffee because I haven't had my cup of coffee yet today. So it's just a cup of coffee with a splash of almond milk and a stevia.
Yum, the way I like it. I have just water today. So we have switched.
We switched.
Yep, we switched.
No Dr. Pepper?
No, but I thought about bringing one over. No Dr. Pepper because I didn't have time to go anywhere this morning. So I ate Fruit Loops for breakfast.
Ooh.
And then I didn't think that Dr. Pepper and Fruit Loops would go very well together.
Probably not.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Well, you have a shout out too.
I do. We posted our Fill Your Cups Friday and just asked our followers and friends what is filling your cup. And we got a couple of responses, but one that we really loved is from Lindsay.Northup. And that's our friend Lindsay. We love you. And she said, prepping to celebrate the marriage of good friends this weekend. So thank you for responding and telling us what's filling your cup. And we hope that the wedding was great.
Yeah, I feel like it's wedding season.
Yes, it's definitely becoming wedding season.
Yeah, May is kind of, I feel like when it kicks off.
Yeah, so, I agree.
I hope it was fun.
Yes, hope it was fun. And thank you for responding. And we can't wait to hear about it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, do you want to dive into the episode?
Yes, I do.
So essentially the structure of this episode is 12 things that we've learned in the last 12 months of podcasting. So we each came up with 6 and we'll just go back and forth.
I like it. Well, I'll start us off. I think that the first thing that I've learned is that you should just take the leap and see what happens. So obviously that is what we did with the podcast. We just said like, hey, these are things that we want to do. These are things like we think it could be really cool. Let's just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool and really fun. And honestly, like even doing that with episode ideas of being like, this is something that I really want to talk about. Should we just see what happens with it? Or like doing this first year birthday party, like let's just take the leap and see what happens, see who shows up kind of thing. So I think that's the first thing that I learned is that you should just take the leap and see what happens.
Yeah, I really like that. And I also think it's just a good life lesson because I think that sometimes we just take ourselves so seriously and we like worry about, well, but this could go wrong or this could go wrong or what if I look like an idiot? And it's like, who cares? Like,
Yes.
at the end of the day, if it's, I don't know, at the end of the day, I feel like it's better to just try something new.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking like, oh, what if this, and just like never reaching your potential. So
No, I completely agree. Or like if we had never started the podcast, you would still be asking yourself like, could I have done this, or should I have done this earlier?
Still be wondering.
Yeah, still be wondering.
Yeah, I think it actually reminds me of our episode we did recently about the choose your hard.
Yeah.
Because we made those graphics and some people were sharing them, but like one of them that our sister Julia was saying like spoke to her was the going out of your comfort zone is hard, but living with regret is hard too.
Yeah.
So it's like choose your hard.
Yeah.
Do you want to like wonder what if, or like regret not trying something? And it also reminds me of the quote, I don't even know if it's a quote or if I just say it, but if you never ask, the answer's always no.
Yeah.
Like if you never try something, then
then you'll never
you're going to be in the exact same place either way. So like,
Yes.
even if you try something and it doesn't work out, you're still in the same place that you would have been if you never tried, but now you like actually know.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, exactly.
I really like it. The first one that I had that just like really consistently bangs in my brain is discipline always beats motivation.
Oh my God, yes.
And I think that the reason that this comes to mind is because obviously we have to make the time to record every week. Luckily there's two of us, so we also have to make the time every other week to come up with an episode idea, make an outline, and edit.
Yeah.
Usually we like get to trade off, so it's only every other week, but still. And then,
but then sometimes we have like the book club episodes.
Yeah.
For an extra week, or sometimes one of us can't post it, and so like the other one's there for them. But
yes, yeah. So I just always feel like if you wait until you're motivated,
it's never gonna be there.
You're not gonna be consistent. So that's why it brings me back to that, which I feel like I've learned that a lot in the last 5-10 years of like self-growth and whatever. But if you actually want something to happen, like you have to build it into like a discipline and a habit. It can't be just whenever you're feeling motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. That one also reminds me of the Choose Your Heart episode. Good Lord. Because I think about, like, I remember whenever we did that episode, I was thinking about the podcast because I think that day, like, I didn't want to come or something because like we always record on the weekends because recording on a weekday is worse than recording on a weekend. Like anytime we've had to record on a weekday, we're like exhausted. I'm like, I don't even know what I said on the podcast episode, blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, it does remind me of that episode, which is probably just because we just did that episode. But it would be hard to go spend an hour on your weekend, but it would be harder to go spend an hour on a Monday. Like, so I'm like, well, let's do it on the weekend.
That's so true. I didn't even think of that.
I think of that all the time.
I thought you were going to say the choose your heart of like recording. Well, I guess I don't know what the opposite heart would be, but I didn't realize you were going to say recording on like a Saturday or a Sunday can be hard, but recording on a Monday or Tuesday is harder.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
That is so true though.
I know. I really like that one though, because I think that can go into all aspects of life. That discipline always beats motivation. And we talk about habits all the time. So that's very true. Lesson number 3 is that you are more creative than you think that you are. And I don't know if you have felt that way at all while we have been on this year-long journey, but I feel like for me, I think of these really good ideas and I'm like, that would be so cool to do. Or like, I think of these episode conversations or things like that I'm like, oh yeah, like this would be really good, blah, blah, blah. And then I feel like, I don't know, I think that this has given, like the podcast has given me a spark back of being like, no, you are still creative.
Yeah.
And I think that jobs,
you have things to share. You have something to offer.
Yes, that I have something to offer and that like I haven't just lost that side of me. Because I think that jobs can do that to you sometimes where, especially if you're not in a job that is like something you're passionate about or something like that. Like I'm not in a creative field at all. And so for me, I'm like, I don't even know if I still have that. Like, I don't know if I have that imagination. I don't know if I have those like ideas anymore. But then we started doing the podcast and I was like, oh no, I definitely have it. Now, do I have the follow-up? No. Do I have the idea? Yes. So that would be my third lesson is that you're just more creative than you think you are. And I guess that's for me personally speaking. I
Yeah.
don't know how you feel about it, but
No, I like that. And I notice myself, I mean, even with some of our social media, whenever I get really into the zone with
oh yeah,
making stuff, making a reel or making a
slideshow. Thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
making graphics, whatever, that I'll get really into it and kind of like honestly sometimes I think that creativity brings me down a rabbit hole. But I don't really think of myself as a creative person
Mhm.
typically because I'm not imaginative and I'm not usually I guess I just don't have that visual brain,
Yeah.
spatial brain. We've talked about that difference between us before.
Mhm.
And so I kind of think I have to see something in
Yeah.
order like I can't visualize or imagine things very easily
Yes.
without the tangible product in front of me.
Yes.
So it has helped me see that creativity can
show itself in other ways. Kind of
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would definitely agree with that.
I like it.
Lesson number 4 is this one is really important, but I've just learned that communication is so important when you're doing anything with a partner. And
yes.
yeah, and I'm not like putting us down in any way or like criticizing us or anything.
Mhm.
I just think that we have had to communicate so much more probably than we even thought we would have to.
Yeah.
Cuz we are pretty much always on the same page. I would say we're lucky in that like the partner that we chose like I
Yeah.
feel lucky that the partner that I have is someone who thinks a lot like me and
Yeah.
who's very open. Like I feel like you're a very open person and you're
Mhm.
very I just think that I think we work well together and
Yeah.
some of my strengths help like
With my weaknesses and they
vice
balance
versa.
each
Yeah,
other.
and your strengths balance balance out my weaknesses. And so I do think that we have like a really good partnership, but it is always amazing to me how much we truly do have to communicate
Yes.
when we're doing something with a partner. And
Mhm.
like I said, I'd rather do it with someone else. It's way more fun and I feel like we're way more accountable. But you like if you're doing a solo project, that's not as much the case.
Mhm.
Like you don't have to check in constantly and be like, "Hey, is it okay if I post this?" or is it,
Mhm.
or what do you think of this? Or
Mhm.
what if
you
we
don't
did
have to find a
this?
time that works for 2 people to record.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
find the one.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Mhm.
honestly, like anytime you're doing a partner endeavor, just communication is really key. And
yes.
I think that it seems obvious, but at the same time, like we were talking all week long, it feels
Yeah.
like, about the podcast,
Yeah.
So it's really important.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that that's something that I have had to work on a lot of like especially not last minute communication because that's one of our differences that we don't work well or not that we don't work well. That's one of our differences that we do differently. But I know that that's one that I've had to be like, "Oh crap, like you're right. I shouldn't have like I can't cancel last minute or like I can't tell you like, hey, I need to move this back 3 hours because I have this all of a sudden or so I think that's a really important one and a good one for life because we talk about communication all the time.
Oh yeah.
Honest,
And
open communication.
Yes. And that's why I'm like, anytime you're doing something with another person, like it doesn't
Yes.
have to be the podcast, but
Yes. Doesn't have to be in work or anything like that. Yeah. Just anytime you're doing something with someone else.
Yes.
Anytime you have another partner. I like that one. My tip number 5.
Mhm.
Yes. Tip number 5 is that you get out of it what you put into it. I think that is my biggest one that I have learned throughout this series and this season is that I have very high belief in myself. I've learned that I'm like, if I do it, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna be successful at it. Like I'm never gonna fall on my face kind of thing. But then it's like, no, you only get out of it what you put into it. And so if you never post about the podcast, you're gonna have way less listeners that week because way less people know about it. Or if you don't post that video on TikTok, like you're gonna have a lot less views or just things like that. And so I think that has been like, it's almost like whenever you're getting mad at, like, let's say it's a work situation, you're like, I can't believe I haven't gotten a promotion yet, but you also haven't, or I can't believe I haven't found a new job yet, but you also haven't applied anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what'd you put into it? That's what you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
And like me and Mason joke about winning the lottery all the time. And we're like, we're going to win the lottery. We're like, we can't believe we haven't won the lottery, even though we've never bought a ticket. So it's like, reminds me of that you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, that's definitely so true. And if we don't record, if we don't edit, if we don't, you know, if we don't put an episode out there, then
if you're not talking to it with or talking about it with your friends, if you're not asking your loved one to share episodes, like things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's funny. It reminds me of, I think there was a week that I think we had like an idea or something. We're like, oh, it's going to be a great idea. Oh, no. It was when we did the big shout out episode.
Yes, the women episode.
Yes. And we only had like 1 or 2 submissions, I think. And one of the submissions was my mother-in-law about me. And I was like, we can't do a whole episode on just one submission about me. And so I was like hustling that week. Leading up to recording. And sent it out to like everybody that I could think of, posted, reposted it on Facebook, because it seems like, oh, I have this idea and I can just post it on Facebook and everybody will respond.
Exactly.
But then it's like, that's not the case. You have to get in front of people several times before they will act on something. So it reminds me of that. Like we had to put in some extra work that week to actually have an episode. So lesson number 6, this is so trivial, but just give the compliment. Like I realized how much it means when someone reaches out and says something kind or supportive about the podcast. And it's really easy to keep those comments to yourself, like just not reach out. And so it's reminded me that when someone's trying something hard or someone's doing something new, that I should, when I have that thought, like, oh, wow, that's really cool that they're doing that or something like that, then I should tell them that. And so I think that is just a small lesson for me, is like, if you even think it for a second, like, wow, that person's doing something really cool, tell them that you think it's cool. Because it means a lot whenever people reach out and tell us like, oh, I really got this from this episode or something like that.
No, it does. And I think that, giving compliments, who does that hurt? Literally nobody. It hurts absolutely nobody. It makes somebody else feel really good. Why not do that? No, I like that one. That one leads into the 7th thing that we've learned, or that I've learned, is that I have learned what a support system does and does not look like. So I feel like throughout this year of podcasting, I have really learned who is a supportive friend and who wants to see me succeed versus who I thought would have and has never interacted, kind of thing.
Really?
So, and I think it's really cool though, that I'm like, wow, I never would have thought of these people being in my corner. And they are like for example, every single one of our book club girls.
I know.
Like that's who I always think about. But I'm like, who would have thought, like at the beginning of this, I never would have been like, oh yeah, our book club's going to be something that's so dear to me. But as we've gone, and they are some of the most supportive people, they are always like interacting with us. They always show up for us. They're always sharing our things. They talk about it in our book club group chat whenever they hear something that they like in an episode. So like that's just an example of someone who I didn't know was a part of my support system, who I now know is. And I think that is really, really cool.
I think that going along with the support system element, it's definitely shown me that I have a way wider female support system than I ever thought about. Because like some of my longest time friends, I know that they listen to some of the episodes, but then like you said, some of the not newer friends. Well, a lot of the book club people are like kind of newer, I would say, into my life, like in the last couple years, and a lot of them, it's really, really nice. Okay, so this kind of goes along with that as well. I think we're on lesson number 8.
Yes.
Okay, so lesson number 8 for me is that people are paying attention even when they don't seem like it. Which I love, because I've realized it more and more recently. Like I have a friend, Haley, who lives in Chicago, and recently I saw her engagement photos, thought they were really cute. I texted her or whatever. And then she sent me this long reply and was telling me about like, oh yeah, it's so funny because I feel like you and I talk every week because I listen to the podcast. But she's like, I always mean to tell you like this is what I'm getting from it and whatever. But I'm sure people are in their cars or walking their dogs or you used to listen to things in the shower, I feel like, you know,
I
like
still do, baby.
okay, so maybe you're in your shower and you don't want to text us, you know. But yeah, so it's been amazing to see, or like when sometimes we are in book club or we're wherever we are, or like with a group of friends, like at Jared's birthday, someone made a reference to me about the podcast, like something that I said in the podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, like we didn't talk about that, but they heard us talk about it on the podcast. They referenced it. And so sometimes it feels like we're sitting here just talking to each other, you know? But it is really cool. Like people are paying attention, even if they don't say it, which is why I'm like, hey, reach out and give the compliment or like say the thing. Yeah. Because I do love to know that you guys are listening. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm just like, it's really cool when those things come up that I'm like, okay, people are actually paying attention.
Yeah. And want to hear what you're saying and are absorbing it. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is not one of my tips that I put on, or I keep saying tips. Mm-hmm. This is not one of the lessons that I put on here, but with the people are paying attention, it also is a good reminder that you have to practice what you preach kind of thing. Yeah. So like we can't talk about kindness on here and about not gossiping on here and about being a good wife and blah, blah, blah. And then go out and do the exact opposite because people have listened to the podcast or people do know what we share. Yeah. And so it's a good reminder and like a good accountability to be like, oh, I need to be kind in this situation. Like that's who I need to be. And so yeah, you better back it up.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when we did the ins and outs episode at the beginning of the year for ins and outs of 2025, especially the planning things on the weekends one, people would like reference that to me. They'd be like, now how's your weekend looking or something like that? And I'm like, I'm actually doing good. Like I didn't make any play, you know, it's it definitely is. Mm-hmm. It's nice that people are paying attention. Yeah, completely agree. Number 9 is that being an influencer is hard. I thought it would be so easy peasy. I thought editing videos would be so easy and that like, oh, you just have to spend 20 minutes doing it. No, every time I sit down to do a reel, it takes me hours. And even if it's an easy reel, it takes me hours because there's always something that I don't know, or there's always like, I have these big ideas of, gosh, I can't even get into it. I always have way too many ideas for reels and then I get into it and I'm like, I don't know how to do any of it. And so it takes me hours and like the consistency that you have to have, the not being afraid to post and to like, just like not being afraid. I have learned influencers are not afraid because you're really legit putting yourself out there to try to be judged you know what I'm saying? Like you're putting yourself out there to be judged kind of thing. I don't know. So I have learned that is not easy and it's not an easy job. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I do think being an influencer is hard and like specifically social media content does take a lot of time. I will say I do think it gets easier with practice. Yeah. And that like I was talking about earlier, how that's where a lot of my creativity can come out. But part of that is because I have been posting on social media for much longer than you and like trying things out with reels and putting things out there that aren't good and like learning how to do things differently and whatever. And so I feel like a lot of that is just time and practice, and you can apply that to anything. Like you kind of have to put your reps in and then it gets easier, but it still is not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. I don't know why, but I mean, I know why, because it looks easy. Whenever you're seeing like 6 seconds of someone's life or like a 6-second clip, you're like, oh, that's so easy. I want to do that. I can do that. But like even a part of the influencing that is hard for me is just remembering to capture the moment. Or like remembering to have my phone there to take a video. I'm so bad about that. And I think it's because I've made such a conscious effort of like it's rude to have your phone out whenever you're with friends or family, so that I always have it put away. And then I forget. And then we do our like what filled your cup in the last month. And I'm like, oh, I have like some pictures of Waylon. Will that work? Yeah. And it always does. It always looks amazing. And you've said before, like it's really lucky we do a lot of the same things and like a lot of things together. So a lot of times I'm like, oh, yep, that one did feel like up. But like, I don't know, even just that, it's been a
something that I have to remember to do and something I have to remind myself to do as time goes to like make sure my phone is pulled out or make sure I'm remembering these dates, make sure I'm remembering these trends, things like that.
And it's definitely a balance. Like I think that we have to be kind with ourselves to some extent, yes, you need to like have your phone out to get content or whatever, but also you are a human and like you're somebody who wants to also like live their life, not just like look at it through a camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I will my next one is pretty similar.
Really?
Well, yeah, tip or lesson number 10 is editing is not for the faint of heart.
Oh my God, no.
So, yeah. So like to you, I feel like for you, you're like, gosh, the social media stuff is not my jam. And for me, I'm like, it's the editing element has been the most surprising to me because we use Descript. So Descript is the software that we use to record, and then it transcribes the whole episode. And so it makes it honestly a lot easier than maybe you would have thought at the beginning. Like it definitely makes it easier.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you open up the episode and for whatever reason there's a weird humming noise. Or you
There's
realize
always something.
Yes, or you realize that our mics went off halfway through or only my mic went off. No, only your mic went off and like now Bailey seems really quiet and I seem really loud or vice versa or something like that. And so there's just like always something when it comes to like the audio, and I haven't really noticed as much the video, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, we had to invest in a new camera.
Yeah. So little things like that, just it's not, I don't know, it's not impossible, but it is harder than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
And it still only takes like an hour or something, but I dread those moments when I open up the video and for whatever reason there's like some weird noise or for whatever reason it's like it looks way blurrier. Like at the beginning before we got our new camera, sometimes it would look really blurry and sometimes it would be really clear, and we're like, well, we didn't do anything different. So it was really difficult. But I will say that I do love using Descript.
Yes.
And Buzzsprout is our like hosting website, and I would recommend either of those to someone trying a podcast, but it is not for the faint of heart.
Sorry. No, it's okay. We got it here. Yes, not for the faint of heart. And it reminds me, do you remember when we first started and we used GarageBand?
Oh my God.
That was a disaster. That would take 2 hours to record an hour episode because we spent an hour trying to get the mics figured out, trying to get it all set up. And then it would take me like 5 hours to record an episode.
I remember our first episode, it was like light out whenever we started. And like we didn't have because a lot of the time we don't turn the light on in this room because it gets really good light from outside. Yeah. And we were like sitting in the dark by the time that we got to like the end. Yeah. It had been probably 5 hours. And we were like, this is not sustainable.
Yeah.
We cannot do this every time. We have to find something else.
I feel like there were so many times before recording that you would like cry. And I'd be like, I'm Googling it. I don't know how to do it. This is what Google says.
It was so, because it felt like there was always something. It was like
every time.
It was never easy. And and it's gotten a lot easier now, which again, like I think it's just putting in reps and like finding the tools that are helpful for you. But oh my gosh, I'll never forget that first time. I swear it was like a 5-hour session.
I think it was.
And it was light out when you got here and when we started, and then we were sitting in the dark.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Yeah, that's definitely something I've learned is don't use GarageBand unless you're an expert already.
Oh yeah, no.
Because
it is not user friendly.
Definitely not. Well, the 11th thing on my list is that I really love the idea of giving people the power of going second. And I had never heard that until our friend Kristen had said it to you, right? Because had you heard that already?
The gift you guys like a seminar. So the gift of going second, we heard at like a Christian conference, I think.
Okay. Well, then it was after our first Let's Get Deep episode, which are scary episodes. Like they're really vulnerable. I feel like we really get into like how we actually feel about things. They're like little therapy episodes.
Yeah.
And I was really nervous to put it out. And then I remember she had sent us this big long Instagram message and had mentioned like, you guys are doing amazing with giving people the power of going second. And I think about it all the time now and just how I really like that idea. And I like that when I'm feeling nervous about putting something out or I'm feeling like anxious about if people are going to like it or whatever, that I'm like, well, there's got to be one other person out there who is in a similar boat as me, or there's got to be one other person out there who might understand how I feel. And then I think it helps me because I like the idea of giving people the power of going second.
Yeah, definitely. I think it kind of goes with the people are paying attention even when you don't realize it, because the actions that you're taking in your everyday life can be inspiring someone without you even knowing it, without them even telling you that. And so it's like, when you put yourself out there and share something vulnerable, then you're giving someone that gift of being able, like, you're going first so that they can follow.
Exactly.
Yeah. I really like that one. Well, last lesson, and this is a really silly one, but ChatGPT is your friend.
Oh my
like,
God.
I have, we don't use ChatGPT for like coming up with ideas necessarily for the podcast, but it is really nice. ChatGPT can sometimes just like streamline our outline or help us kind of structure what we're talking about a little bit better and make it feel a little bit, I don't know, just more structured. And
I've noticed it helps me center my thoughts. Like if I'm like, okay, ChatGPT, can you give me like, tell me what I'm saying? Because this is what I'm saying. But like, how would you say it? And then they do it. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I want to say.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like I didn't start using it until using it for the podcast, like using it to help, structure my thoughts and help me figure out how to organize them.
Yeah.
And now I use it to help me with ideas at work. And I use it to help me with ideas for just ideas for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good tool. I've realized it's like a really good tool for helping brainstorm and then helping, like organize thoughts. I feel like it's really helpful. So I really, really like ChatGPT. It is your friend.
It is your friend. Yes. I feel like at the beginning of all of this, whenever ChatGPT first came out, I almost thought of it as like cheating.
Yeah.
That I was like, it's just doing all the work for you. But it's like a shortcut for every time you have to Google something.
Yeah.
Like,
and also it doesn't do all the work for you.
No, it doesn't.
Because like it doesn't sound like you, and you do have to change it up. And you do have to,
and you have to put in what you're thinking.
Yes.
And what you want.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It just generates a cleaner version of whatever your messy brain is.
Yeah.
So so that is my last lesson. So those are our 12 lessons in the last 12 months of podcasting that we have learned.
And I've loved over 12 months of them.
Yeah.
And we have done this every single Monday since we started.
Yeah.
We have an episode every single Monday. And I think that part is so cool because there have been so many weeks where I'm like, we could just skip a Monday. Like it's Thanksgiving. Like it's okay if an episode doesn't come out. Yeah. And then it's like, no, it should come out. And so now that we're a full year into it, I'm like, no, I'm so glad that it has stayed consistent.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And we actually technically have more than 52 episodes because each month we've had a book club episode.
Yeah.
I think we missed one book club episode one time, like over Christmas or something. But with that math, let's see, 52 weeks plus 11, so like over 60 episodes at this point.
Yeah.
That we've done. So
which is crazy.
It's awesome.
Good job, girl. Sometimes all you need is a sister in a dream. I love it. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed this quick little episode of just the things that we've learned. And maybe there's things that you've learned like while going through this with us of things that we've been talking about or things we've been preaching, or maybe we have given you the chance of going second on some things. And so, we'd love to hear it. Remember our it's easy to give a compliment kind of thing. So leave a review. We'd love it. We're looking for 12 reviews for the 12 months.
Oh, heck yeah. I love it.
It's a goal I just set up. Just kidding. No, but I think that's everything I had.
Me too.
Woohoo.
All right, until next time.
We'll see you then.
Cheers.
Cheers.